Offseason's upon us. It's very apparent that the Texans, they need wide receivers. And they're going to add wide receivers in multiple ways. Free agency, the draft, secondhand free agency after the market speaks to some of these veterans. The Texans are going to be in the market for wide receivers. Stefon Diggs, the deadline has passed to agree to a contract to eliminate the dead cap the upcoming season. We don't know what's going to happen with him. Tank Dell, status in doubt for the upcoming season. So the Texans are going to need wide receivers, and they're going to need to add those guys in multiple ways. It is the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans digital content. I am Landry Locker. You can see me here throughout the week. You can also see me on SNL at 4 o'clock. So let's talk about a guy that the Texans were linked to last year. In fact, a guy the Texans tried to acquire last year, Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, going to be a free agent. First time in his career that he's going to be a free agent. He's been in the league for a while. First time he's going to be a free agent, and he's also made a crap ton of money. He's made over $100 million as a player. I think about $130 million total as a player. So he's going to have a lot of leverage. He's not going to be desperate. Last year, the Texans, and this is reason #1 why Keenan Allen may make sense, they wanted him. Apparently, according to Diana Rossini, according to Aaron Wilson, the talks broke down because the Texans wanted to trade a 3rd rounder in the next draft. The Bears were willing to trade a 4th rounder in the upcoming draft. So as a result of that, that deal fell apart. Texans were reportedly also interested in giving Allen an extension, but they then traded for Stefon Diggs after that. So that's reason #1. We know they liked him. Different offensive coordinator, but same guys, D'Amico Ryans, Nick Caserio calling the shots. They liked Keenan Allen last year. So we've talked about Cooper Kupp. We've talked about Deebo Samuel. We don't know what they think of them. There's reason to like, and there's reason not to like, but we know for a fact that they wanted Keenan Allen last year. Reason #2, you will be in the veteran wide receiver market. We know this. You're going to be in the veteran wide receiver market. You're probably going to be drafting a wide receiver. You're probably going to be signing multiple veteran wide receivers. So any wide receiver that's on the market is worth at least discussing, even if that discussion, which could happen here, comes to a screeching halt and you come to the realization that it might not be as realistic as it may appear on the surface. Last year, Keenan Allen, in 15 games with a rookie quarterback in a dumpster fire situation on the coaching staff, he had 67 catches for 719 yards and 7 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp had as many receptions, more yards, and 1 fewer touchdown in 3 fewer games. Obviously, he was playing with Matthew Stafford. And Deebo Samuel, his production was down in as many games. He had fewer receptions, but more yards, fewer receptions, fewer yards, and fewer touchdowns. He wasn't good. The other thing that Allen has that these two don't, at least at the moment, Kupp and Deebo, is he's a true free agent. These guys might have to be traded, although not much leverage when it comes to them. And you can make a case that the cost could be similar, given the fact that San Francisco and LA is going to have to take on some of the salary. So you like Keenan Allen last year. You need a veteran wide receiver. He can do some work in the slot. So Keenan Allen, that is the reason why he makes sense. Now, why he doesn't make sense makes this somewhat extremely difficult for the Texans. Reason #1, there might be better options for the Texans. There might be better options. Maybe the guys that I just mentioned, maybe guys that are a little bit younger in the free agent market. I'm not even counting rookies because I don't think it's an either or. I think you're going to be in both market, but there might be better options than Keenan Allen. I think you can make a case for Deebo and Cooper Kupp if the cost is similar. You can make a case for either one of those guys, because it's one thing to say that the Texans could have liked and tried to get Keenan Allen last year. Kupp and Deebo weren't available last year, so we don't know whether they would have made that same decision. But reason #2, and this is why the Keenan Allen situation is so tough. Reason #2, Keenan Allen's personal life. And he actually did an interview this year with the Chicago Sun-Times. Patrick Finley, he told him that if he plays next year, it'll be in Chicago or Los Angeles. Said he would consider moving his family to Los Angeles or to Chicago. They actually stayed in Los Angeles last season, but those are the only 3 teams he would be willing to play for. That was the quote from Keenan Allen. And if you just look at it this way, he's been in California since 2010 when he was in college. He met his wife there. They have 4 kids. Had to have been a somewhat difficult situation for him to be in Chicago while his wife and 4 kids were in Los Angeles. So you factor that in with the fact that it's probably going to be a short-term deal. He's already made 9 figures playing football. Would he be willing to leave Los Angeles? Now, that's the personal standpoint, but there is kind of a gray area. The interview was done before kind of some of the chaos in Los Angeles. So I don't know how he was impacted, how he looks at living in Los Angeles. I know a lot of people are more willing to leave Los Angeles than maybe they were before. So maybe that comes into account. I think the interview was like 9 days before that. That's one thing. The other thing is, do any of these teams that he wants to play for, do they want Keenan Allen? The Bears have 2 younger options in DJ Moore and Rama Dunze. Do they want to bring in Keenan Allen? They have a lot of cap space, but do they want to bring back Keenan Allen? Now, he was a very productive player. I'm sure they're not too opposed to it. The Chargers just traded him. He does have chemistry with Justin Herbert, but they also have Ladd McConkey, who kind of does some work in the slot. And you got to think the Chargers are going to be looking for young, explosive guys on offense. So that could be an option. The Rams is interesting because if they're getting rid of Cooper Kupp, why would they then want to bring in Keenan Allen? That seems kind of weird. You already have Puka Nacua. You have Jordan Whittington, who's a young guy that you like, kind of doing the stuff that Keenan Allen does. Why would the Rams want to bring him in? So how bad does Keenan Allen want to play football? Maybe there's some sort of discount for these 3 teams, but it kind of takes 2 to tango. And maybe he's more willing to move now than he was before. Who knows? Takes 2 to tango. From a Texan standpoint, there's easily reasons to say yes or no to Keenan Allen. From his standpoint, he's already on the record, but the market can speak to a lot of guys and they can become a lot more open to perhaps moving. Now, the one thing that the Texans would have that maybe a team not in Los Angeles, Chicago would have is they could say, well, we wanted you last year. We've liked you for a long time. Who knows? Something to keep an eye on. It's an interesting situation. I don't think any possibility when it comes to the wide receiver position can be eliminated because the only wide receiver you feel good about that's under contract right now is Nico Collins. Outside of that, the possibilities are endless. Keenan Allen makes sense for some reasons, easy to dismiss for others. Who knows? The offseason continues. Ride along, subscribe, and always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.